Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Lunch and Learn Credit Tea with Shyla D. I am your host. Sorry, making sure all my screens are where they're supposed to be at. You think I would actually get used to this by now, but I'm not, and that's okay. As long as I keep doing, eventually I will become very proficient at this StreamYard. So go ahead and tap in. If you haven't already done so, I need you to go and follow my credit healer across all social medias. We're also live on YouTube, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button on there as well. If you haven't already done so, I need you to go ahead and join our free Facebook community called Credit Healing Secrets. You must, you must, you must answer the questions because it will automatically deny you. But the reason why I say go ahead and join us for free over there is because usually when I am done with these type of broadcasts, what I like or what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start dropping the presentations if I have one into the group. That way, if you don't come on the live, or if you're watching the live and you want to see the presentation, even though I'm going to put it on the screen for you, but that way you can always go back as a reference. You'll have it there in the group. That's where we're going to have a lot of our letters at. This is also where I will be dropping the how to read your credit report after we're done with this live tonight. So let's go ahead and get into it. If you are joining me live, go ahead and give me a shout out. Say hey and tell me where you're tuning in from. If you're actually coming back on a replay, just go ahead and put a hashtag replay and still say hey and tell me where you're jumping in from, okay? So I'm trying to make sure that it's all over the place. That's why I keep going back and forth. So I apologize, y'all. All right. So today we're actually going to go over what to ask a realtor. So whether you are a first time home buyer, if you are a second time home buyer, or say you're going through a realtor to purchase, not purchase, but to lease a home from someone or whatever, we're going to go over several different questions on what that's going to look like for you. As you know, the month of July has been, our topic has been the home buying process, how to not necessarily increase your credit scores. I'm never going to say increase, but how to improve your credit file, right? Because your credit file is what's actually the most important. All right. All right. So first off, and this is actually going to be more for the first time home buyers. Okay, so if you have your friends, family members, if you're thinking about this is your first time doing a home buying, that's okay. Go ahead and tag them, share this live. Again, it's live on the Facebook of my credit healer. It is also in the credit healing secrets group, and it is live on YouTube. All right. Trying to make sure I can see comments because not all the time can I see the comments. All right, so what is a top answer or a question that you should ask a realtor when you are first time home buying, right? Let's just say that you've already gone through your pre-approval process and everything like that, right? Because you watched last week live, right? How to get prepared for it. Realtor isn't really going to talk to you until you get your pre-approval, right? So this is after you obtain that pre-approval. So you want to ask them, how much do you think I can afford? And you want to give them that copy of that letter that says that you are pre-approved for X amount and things of that sort, right? Because that's going to let them hone in on exactly what type of house that you want. Because we already went over the stuff from last week of what you want, where you want it, neighborhoods and things of that sort, right? Which is great. Um, then you are actually going to say, you're going to think to yourself, I should say this is not more than, this is more of ask a realtor, but also ask yourself this as you're going to your realtor, right? Um, your down payment. what do you think that the down payment may or may not look like, right? Because some realtors, they might provide you with the local resources if you need down payment assistance, or if they might advise you, hey, do you have anything that they could actually help you with, things of that sort, right? Because your down payment could affect how much you really need to borrow from the loan that you already had that's a pre-approval, but that can also help chop down your home payment. All right. Did they know the area of the property taxes or the property tax cost, right? The areas that you're looking in. Again, I had an awesome realtor. And depending on the neighborhood, she said, hey, the estimate cost for this neighborhood is XYZ. And I had to think, are we going to be able to afford that? Right? What the closing cost may be. Is the seller going to have me actually pay for the closing costs, or are they going to negotiate that? Okay. Are there any type of hidden costs when it comes to owning a home? They might actually give you a heads up. Hey, when owning a home, this is what I've seen within the first 2 to 3 years of owning a home, right? Sorry, didn't mean to click that. But they might actually go ahead and tell you, hey, these are the things that you might want to actually start to consider because this place has an HOA. Hey, the roof hasn't been replaced in 20 years on this one. Or, I hate to say it, but the AC unit hasn't been checked in 3 years or replaced within 3 to 5 years. They can actually advise you what's going on because they're going to look at that those type of housing things, right? They might also help you with how much is it going to cost you to move into your new home, right? Will the realtor or the seller pay for someone to clean the home after they move out of the home, right? Are they going to set it up and just have it ready for you, or is that something that you have to actually pay for? Me personally, even if they do, that's just because who I am. No matter where I moved in, renting, buying, whatever, I've always still cleaned it because it's just no cleaning like your own cleaning. But that's me. That's only me. But this may be a cost that you don't have to pay. But those are some of the things that you can ask as a first time home buyer, right? So I'm actually going to go over the top 10 questions to ask a real estate agent before you buy a home, right? And this is actually being sourced from Realtor.com, just so you know where I'm getting it from. And let me change this real quick. All right. So, first question: how long have you been a real estate agent? How long have you been a real estate agent? So you want to ask this question because whether they're a rookie or an experienced person, that's going to let you know exactly what you're going to be dealing with. Because say if it is a rookie, maybe they might have their broker with them or another mentor with them while they're going through that beginning stages. And that's okay because we all have to start somewhere, right? It's your first time home buying. It might be your second time, but markets and things of that change. And even with the rookie, hey, they may need to know certain things. And they might have someone with them. Okay. If you get an experienced realtor, they probably already know the ins, the outs, the neighborhoods that you're looking at, all kinds of stuff. So, having said that, the next question is going to be, what neighborhoods do you specialize in? If you have a realtor, so say if you're in a Houston area, right, or the metropolitan area, you're going with a realtor, are they specialized in the Pearland area? Are they specialized in the Katy area? Is it North Houston, South Houston, Third Ward, Fifth Ward? Is it the Conroe area, Montgomery County? You need to know what areas that your real estate agent is actually well versed in. Because if they can just rattle it off about the certain neighborhoods, home prices, schools, technically they're not supposed to advise you of safety, but they can tell you where to go and find those in that information. Public transportation. These are things that you want to ask your realtor. Okay. What is your schedule of availability? So, as most of us know, a lot of times realtors, this might be their only job, or this might be a side hustle. Maybe it's something for them, right? But you need to know what that availability is going to be. Is it only at a certain time, right? Because say if it comes to a bidding war, Are they going to be available to put your name in the hat? And are they going to be able to quick and jump on it like this? Or is this something they're doing full time, right? They want to not necessarily be busy, busy, but not too busy for you. That makes sense? All right, next. Do you work independently or with a team? Either way, both of them are great because if they're working with the team, you know that if that realtor is not available, there is a possibility that they have a great relationship with their team or whoever, and somebody can step in for that person. Especially during these COVID times, and some people are down for a week, 2 weeks, sometimes months. You know, somebody is going to be able to take your case, know it like the back of their hand, and be able to push it to someone else that's on the team, right? If they're working independently, that's still okay because that means you know that they're probably grinding. Not to say that somebody with the team is not grinding, but that lets you know that hey, they out here, they hustling. They getting anything that you need. They probably are going to be able to do a little bit more than somebody that is on or in a firm or on a team, right? Because just like any other type of corporate America place, there's certain rules, aspects that you may or may not be able to do. Next, what percentage of your business is working with home buyers? This is a great question. The reason being is because sometimes if you are going to go to a realtor and say, for example, you see a realtor sign in front of a house and you want to contact that realtor is actually a realtor for the buyer, not seller. I mean, not that realtor, switch that around. That realtor is actually for the seller, not the buyer. Can they work both? But you want somebody to actually vouch and look in for your best interest. Okay? You want them to focus on you and what you want, the buyer. Okay? So it's very important. Yes, they can do both. A lot of realtors do. However, you want someone that is going to focus only on your needs, which is the buyer. All right. Next question. How many homes did you help your buyer close in the past year? This is a very specific question, and the reason being is because you want to see how successful they are. Are they dragging their feet? Did they have some other things? Do they have a family that they had to tend to? Is that their certain goal? Because not necessarily did they actually say, like, for example, if they have a family and they have a busy lifestyle and things of that sort, that's okay. But what is their successful closing rate for the buyers, right? Sometimes that tells somebody like, hey, I've been showing 20 homes this year, and so far I got about 12 of them good. That gives you a good rate that of what they have closed for their own customers, right? That means, hey, they about to go get it. Anything could happen, but it's good to still know those type of odds. All right. So next question: how long does it typically take buyers you work with to find and purchase a home? I will tell you, sometimes you can get things that are quick. There's sometimes it will take time. Let me hear me out. It can take time for you to find that perfect home. But you also got to be willing to work with your realtor when they are actually getting this information to you, right? Because sometimes it can take more than 30 days, it can take 60 days. You never know. You might find that dream home within 2 weeks, right? Because your realtor is just on it, like, hey, this is what you have, this is the list, let's go look at it, drive by the neighborhoods different times, see what it is. It all depends, right? So it all depends on how fast they work, how much they put an offer in, if there's any other people that's putting offerings on the same home, because it might be your favorite house, but how many other people's favorite houses that is, right? All right. So then you want to ask, how will you determine what homes may match my wants and needs? A good realtor that is for the buyer, they're most likely going to give you some type of questionnaire, or they're going to ask you several different questions about what you want, what you need, what those specifics are, right? So if you think back, or if you go back to the live last week, I actually put a few questions about things that you need to think of when you want to buy a house, right? Do you want an indoor pool, outdoor pool, jacuzzi? You want a patio? What are these things? The school district. These are things that a realtor can narrow down for you. So if you already have your list of must have, won't go no further, this is a deal breaker, they can actually, it can help them do the process even faster for you if you have that list of needs. All right. Next question. How many clients are you currently working with? Well, you definitely want, which we already answered, you definitely want an agent that is busy because you know this is something that is their niche. This is something that they are willing to work for. But you also don't want them too busy. You don't want them too lax either because it's like, I'm just doing this just because and blah, blah. You want somebody that's going to be just as serious about your home buying process because this is a life changing event. Not only for you, the buyer, but for the realtor as well, right? And let me go ahead and say, I'm not the realtor, but I'm just saying because I work with a lot of realtors and I hear their hearts all the time. A lot of them, especially the ones that I actually have partnered with, they really care about their clients. How much of a personal impact for them? Are they moving because it's emotional? Are they moving because they don't have no choice? Something like that. But I have realtors that we partner with that they really care about the entire process. Some of them will hold your hand and like, hey, I'm not really sure about this because you said, and they bring back what your wants and needs are. That's very important. This is something that I actually look in not only for my own realtor, but this is what I look for certain clients too. When my clients tell me, hey, I just want somebody to be straight, shoot, shot, blah, blah, I give them my top 3 realtors that's on my list, depending on the area that they're looking for. All right. Last but not least, how will you keep in contact with me during the buying process and how often? So, this is a very important question because, again, you need to know if your realtor is going to be too busy to answer you or if they're quick on the text, if the email isn't. You need to know exactly what those things look like, right? Are they better on Instagram, Facebook? Are they better with you just picking up the phone, sending a text message? Hey, what is it? What are their hours of availability, which we went back for another question for, right? It's all of those things that actually matter because you want them to be on just as much as you are, especially if there is another person that is possibly interested in a home. Because again, you may not be that only person that is interested in a home. You might have 10 bidding wars going on for that home that you have, right? All right. So that was the information according to realtor.com. Now, if you are getting in contact with a realtor to rent a home, because this is also something that is major nowadays. I did not realize how major it was because, I mean, I won't say I didn't realize, I knew it was coming, but there was a lot more questions that I've had here recently because of the market, right? Sometimes, people, they can sell their homes, but they realize it was a seller's market, but it's not a buyer's market. I'd rather go ahead and lease a home for a little bit. I'd rather rent a home, things of that sort, right? So there's certain questions that you should ask a realtor, even if you're going through them to rent a home. So what does that look like? So you want to ask things such as, are the utilities included, right? Or what utilities are actually covered by this certain person, place, whatever, or is it something that I have to pay out of pocket? Because you want to make sure that your budget can actually fit that type of additional expense going out, right? All right. The next question is going to be something not only if you're a home buyer but also a renter. Will there be any repairs made in the home prior to your move-in, right? So those walkthroughs are going to be imperative to you. If you see a crack, a screw out of line, something that just does not look right, you want to ask those questions of, hey, will you actually repair this before I come in, or is this something that I have to do, right? All right. Next question. Will you need a co-signer? 9 times out of 10, if you are going to a landlord or something like that, they may want to do some type of background check, credit check, and things of that sort. And your realtor could actually ask you, like, hey, they can look at your stuff, or they should be able to look at your stuff, like, you know what, with these type of scores and blah blah, you might want to find someone that might be a co-signer. That could be your spouse. But if you need someone, they need to make sure that you are financially and budget friendly, realistic when it comes to renting this home for however long you want that contract to be. Okay. And I don't like to be a co-signer, but only person I'm a co-sign for is my husband. And even then, I'm like, what we co-signing for? What we doing? For what? Is it needed or is it a what? Let me not even get more into that. All right. So next question: what type of fees may I be charged? So this is going to be in your leasing agreement, right? I know a lot of people, they just see this 10, 15-page thing and all this little print. But as you know, I'm like, look, you better look at what you signed initially, because it's going to tell you whatever extra fees that you may be charged. Any for extra keys, change of locks, to paint, to repaint. It could be anything, to patch a hole. What kind of extra fees could you be responsible for? Okay, then you also want to ask, how long has this place been on the market? Sometimes if it's been on there for over 30 days, you want to ask why. Why has it been on the market for this long? There is some type of story to go behind, because if it's not catching people's eyes, what is it? Is it the neighborhood that it's in? Is it the activity that's surrounding the neighborhood? Is there something physically wrong with the house? You want to know that type of thing, those type of things, okay? Um, I think that's about it that I want to actually cover. That's actually what I want to cover. All right, so next portion I actually want to go over is how to read your credit report. Now, I actually have a complete presentation for this, so give me just a second while I get that ready. All right. Hopefully you guys can see. When I go into this slide mode, I cannot see you guys. I have it up here, so hopefully I can actually see any questions that you may have. Okay, so how to read your credit report. This is so important because a lot of people, when they pull their credit reports, they don't know what they're looking at. A lot of people don't. I get it, because even though I was in the banking industry and I first started out, even though I knew credit was important, I didn't know what I was reading. It took me a while, but I want to prepare you for how to read your credit report. So, step one, when you pull your credit report, of course, you want to do this from annualcreditreport.com, right? So, first, you want to identify and confirm any and all of your personal information. So, you want to check your name, you want to make sure that it's spelled right, and you want to make sure that you don't have any aliases. So, any bills that you've been receiving in the mail, I don't care if it's a letter wrong, the middle name's wrong, your last name is off. You want to check all of your current people that you actually pay and make sure that those bills are correct, because if it's not correct on those bills, it's going to reflect that on your credit reports. You want to change it with the creditors first and then change it on your credit reports to make sure it's correct. That's a one way to actually be able to tell it, okay? Then you want to make sure that your address is listed correctly. I don't know who told you that you had to have 20 different mailing addresses. No, you do not. If you live somewhere in the past 2 years, you only need one address, honestly, right? Because sometimes there are just more than one simple mistake that for them reporting it, right? And if the credit report actually presents it, your phone number's listed, you technically don't have to have your phone number listed on your account either, on your files. But they only need one name, one address, one employer, want everything. Okay, so it says make sure your social security number and your date of birth are accurate as well. Well, this is definitely very important because if you notice there is a change in the social security number that's on your file. So say you have social security number 1234, but it says 4123. It's wrong. I don't care if it was a typo or anything. It's wrong, and you need them to go ahead and actually change that or investigate that. See where that social is actually attached to. All that personal information before you even start your credit repair journey. I don't care whether you do it yourself or you hire a professional. You need to make sure your personal information is correct. Now, I will go ahead and put a side note. If you are in the process of purchasing a home, I would advise to leave your current employer on there because that's just another way for the mortgage lender, broker, realtor to actually verify that you have been at an employer. It's at least been long enough for them to report it on your credit bureaus, and that information they could just go ahead and send right on to your employer for proof of employment. Step two, your credit history. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. I know a lot of people's like, well, I don't get it. Credit history, whatever. It's so important. So you want to check and review any open, paid, closed accounts, their amounts, all of that. If it appears as a mortgage, credit card, a loan, installment, whatever it does, you want to make sure that information is actually correct, right? So when you are checking those open, paid, and closed accounts, you want to check for the accounts that you are individual on. You want to check for the accounts that you're just an authorized user on. You want to check the accounts that you are a joint user on. You want to check all of those, right? And then you want to check any type of remaining balances that you may or may not have on these accounts. And if it's been to sent to collections, because that can impact you as well. As we went over, of course, a collection account, which if they put the payment history on there, payment history is 35% of your FICO scores, which is up to 192.5 points. Anyway, so you want to also check how many accounts that you have across all three bureaus. So that's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. How many accounts? You want to know why your credit file scores are different? Because not everybody reports to all three bureaus. I'll say it again. Not everybody reports to all three bureaus. Okay? Step three, you want to check your public records and your file. What do I mean by this? Well, a lot of people have it mistaken that I don't know what she just did. Sorry. A lot of people have it mistaken that judgment liens and bankruptcies and all that is going to be in your public records. Actually, bankruptcy is the only record that should be shown in your public record files if you have filed for it. Okay. Then you want to verify the most negative information or marks that you have for any type of delinquencies. So the bankruptcies, the repossessions, the charge-offs, anything that could possibly be flagged as potentially negative. Again, if you pulled your report from annualcreditreport.com, depending on which bureau you're looking at, it's probably going to put that potential negative items up on the files first, right? So again, going in, judgment and liens, they should not be on your credit reports. However, they can show up in other sources of public records. So if somebody wanted to go into your files, they pull stuff and they're like, oh, well, you have a judgment because you had an eviction and blah blah. They probably went into some type of court record to be able to see it because those are always public information, right? But then you also want to check the length of history if it shows up as it's paid, even on those type of records. You want to make sure everything across the board is either at a $0 or it's not showing up at all, even if it's the court documents. Okay. So your delinquent and derogatory accounts. So this is your past dues, your collections, your charge-offs, your repossessions. So you want to see how many of those do you have, especially when you're checking it against your open and good files, right? Because if you have more past due collections and charge-off, guess where your credit health and your credit file is probably sitting at when a lender's going to look at it. Probably not so good, right? If you have more of those than anything else, right? Then you want to check the total balances and what those monthly payments are. Does that look correct for you, right? Then what is the last date of activity? This is very important, and I put the asterisk of SOL because SOL does not mean ish out of luck. SOL means statute of limitation, and every state has a different statute of limitation. That's a whole nother training for a whole nother day. Next, your inquiries. You want to see the detailed listings of any type of businesses that have requested copies of your credit reports. So it might be a combination of soft and hard inquiries or pulls that you see. You need to know which one is the difference, but you also need to know who is accessing your reports and who's supplying the information to those different reports, right? So you might see something on there that says core logic in your inquiries, whether it's a soft or a hard pull. Well, it's going to list what they actually pulled your credit report for and how, because it's probably a company that only has access to core logic and they pulled it from there, and that's why this company didn't actually put it on the three major bureaus, but core logic furnished the information to put onto the bureau. All right. Step 4, check your open accounts and look for any type of discrepancies. So I want to advise you, and let me definitely put a pin here. Just because it's an open account, it has a zero balance and stuff, does not mean that it needs to be deleted, because it's probably holding your average age of history up there. And for a lender, they like to see an average age of history be over 5 to 7 years. So that's what I'm gonna say there. So open accounts are any lines of credit that you open and didn't close. And I also put a pin here saying that they stay open if you have not, if you did not, if you don't have a balance. I put a pin there because if you don't utilize those credit cards that you have open after 6 months or even a year, the company has the right to close them whether you ask them to or not, especially if it stays at a zero balance, because they can honestly think, hey, she don't need it no more. We don't have to extend this line of credit, because that's their money that they're letting you borrow. They have the right to close the account whether you use it. Sometimes they'll walk down your credit line as well, even though it's open, depending on your payment history. And if they actually pull a soft report and they see that you start going past due on other bills, but again, that's a whole nother day, a whole nother training, right? You want to check for any accounts that has the letter U in it, right? Because that means you may have a problem. Is it new? Maybe the account has never been updated. It is a warning sign to you if it has a U on there, because it means that the account is unclassified. Then you want to write letters to the agency if you find any type of wrong information, inaccurate information on any accounts, especially if you did not open them. But any inaccurate, wrong information, you want to send a letter to the bureaus letting them know, hey, I pulled my credit report today, and I'm seeing that this account says this. This is completely wrong. And if you have any type of supporting documentation, you want to send that in as well. It's called a reinvestigation. All right, and then you want to avoid any type of identity theft by staying up to date with your score and understanding what to look for. So, yes, your score might be important, and I know you've heard me say that you don't have a score until you pull your reports. However, your file is the most important. So, yes, I say go to annualcreditreport.com and get your credit files for free, which right now you can do once a week, or you can actually sign up for a credit monitoring service. Right now, we have one, which the link is somewhere in my bio or somewhere around here, where you can actually get your FICO industry scores for $1 for 7 days, and I think it's like $24.99 a month afterwards, right? What that credit monitoring is going to do is going to alert you if there's any type of changes. It doesn't matter whether it's an address, a marking a social, maybe there's some type of remark on your credit file, but it's going to flag you and be like, hey, there's something wrong. I need you to check your credit file. So I know a lot of people start talking about, well, I don't need to pay for this. Why I gotta do this, blah blah. Well, I'm not gonna say it's a mindset issue, but if you want to make sure that you are up to date on your credit file, I highly suggest that you either pull these reports each week while you can until December, or you get a credit monitoring service. Of course, I'm gonna highly recommend again I go through My Score IQ for the industry FICO scores. So just went over this a little bit and I apologize, but where can I find my score? Well, you can obtain a free copy of your credit report once a year at annualcreditreport.com. They provide you the credit report for free, not the scores. You have to pay for your scores. You have to pay for your scores. You have to pay for your scores. I don't care if it's Credit Karma or whatever. Those are Vantage scores. If you were looking to make some type of purchase or you're trying to deem credit from a company, Credit Karma, Credit Wise, none of them that are using Vantage is where it's going to be, okay? So you want to make sure you're getting the most accurate information and not from just any third party service, right? Because they can sometimes report inaccurate information that's on your report. So you want to make sure it actually goes well. So if you're going to go with a credit monitoring service, that is completely fine. Like I said, I highly recommend it because you want to see any type of update. They are going to definitely, you can use this guide as a step for you to actually understand where your credit is red, okay? So here's an example of personal information for a simple credit report. All right, so your personal information is identified information about the credit report requester. Experian and TransUnion include this information at the beginning of your credit report, while Equifax will put your personal information at the end of the report. So if you can see, there's a couple of red dots here. So it's going to give you the report number. It's going to give you your name and any other names that you may have, aliases or however it may be, right? Then it's also going to give you your social security number. You're going to make sure your date of birth is correct. If it does apply a phone number, make sure the phone number that they have, if you don't mind it being on your report, is actually the correct one, right? Then your current address. You want to make sure all of this information is correct because I don't know how many times I've seen that, yes, you might live at 123 Main Street, but they have 124 Main Street. It's a complete typo error, but whoever at 1234 Main or 124 Main Street, whatever, they could be getting your mail, which that's doing more harm to you, right? Any previous addresses, like I said, you only need one address on your credit report. Especially if you've been at a home for more than 2 years, you don't need any other addresses, right? And then for your employment information. So you don't have to have your employment information on here. Again, I highly recommend if you are going to be in a search for a home over the next year or two, you definitely want to keep your employer information on here. So it's going to tell you the employer name. Sometimes it will give the information, when they last reported it, things of that sort. If it has any previous employer on there, you don't have to have that on there either. You don't even have to have your position, a hire date. Most of them don't give a hire date or anything like that, but they will give a position. So again, public records, those are court judgments, wage garnishments, liens. They should not be on your credit report at all in the first place. Again, court judgments, wage garnishments, liens, they should not be on your credit reports in the first place. Only thing that should be on your credit file is a bankruptcy, right? But even then, it's going to show you any information here with an address. So you're like, well, I don't know who to get in contact with. It gives you that court that you need to contact, right? So any type of adverse or potentially negative items, depending on the credit report that you're actually looking at. So your accounts may you have open and have been reported as either unpaid or paid or things of that sort, right? So what we're looking at here, you have a collection recovery, right? They have the account number. So when you're writing your letters, you're going to literally write it to this collection company, and it gives you a number that you can contact them. I highly recommend send your letters in writing and then send it certified mail, right? But it's going to tell you what balance you have, the pay status, payment after charge off collection, right? So a lot of you are like, well, I paid it off, but it didn't come off. Just because you paid it don't mean it's supposed to automatically fall off your credit report. Again, just because you paid your collection or your charge off does not mean it's going to come off of your credit reports. I don't know who told you that it's going to increase your scores. No, it'll probably increase your Vantage score because they take into all account balances, whether it be charge off or not. It's not going to increase your score on a FICO scale. All right. But then also it'll show you what type of account that it was. If it is an installment account, an installment account is a fixed line of credit that is paid over a certain period of time. This can include bank loans, car loans, student loans. And then it could have a remark. It's a paid collection. And then it should have some type of estimated date or time when the account will be removed. This is important because this is where some of the you ask how long can it stay on your credit report, and it says 7 to 10 years. Well, it's going to tell you here. All right, so accounts that are in good standing or satisfactory. Accounts in good standing or satisfactory accounts are accounts that have been reported to the bureaus as paid on time and in full during a reported period of time, typically up to 30. I'm sorry, I said 30 something. 53 months. I've seen some go more than that actually. It all depends on the bureau that you're looking at. So here, sometimes it will show you if you do have a collateral. A collateral is a property that you are actually being used to secure the line of credit, and that's okay because it's going to have it here. It's going to show you the pay status as paid as agreed. If it says paid as agreed, leave it alone. But leave it alone. It does not need to come. If it's in good state, if it's in good status or a satisfactory account, leave it alone. And then you want to make sure you have a good mix. Again, it says installment account, but you want one that says installment, revolving, things of that sort. So here's another example of a past due account. So it's going to tell you how many days past due that you are. So this may actually mean that it's still with the current creditor. So instead of saying collections or charge off, it says past due. This lets me know that the original creditor, which is Donovan and Wilson, their address, their phone number still has this account in their office. Meaning you want to contact them before they do charge it off. Because once they charge it off, could they still house the account? They possibly could, but most likely they'll send it off to a third party debt collector. But you want to see what type of payment arrangements that you can actually get from them. Sometimes the first party collector is more lenient than a debt collector. So following items is suppressed pending credit grantor update. So I know a lot of people are out here like, oh, look, I got this deleted, and blah, blah. You need to know the difference between suppressed or deleted. I am over my 30 minutes, so I'm going to make this really quick, and I apologize. Again, if you're in the Credit Healing Secrets group, I will download this How to Read a Credit Report for you. Here is going to show you the actual payment history. Like I said, some of them, they can show more than 53 months and things of that sort, right? It shows that it's paid as agreed, but you see all this green, this is great. But if a lender goes in, even though it's 2022, and they see here in 2015, no matter how long ago it is, from January, February, and a part of March, you've been past due. This is a red flag to them. Also here, it reads it backwards. So this is the most current here, and it's the last day. So as you could tell that the account balance was at $1,161, and then it went up, and it went back down again. This shows your creditors that, hey, you're actively using the account, but how responsible are you going to make the payments? Even though the scheduled payment, minimum payment, is $25, how much did you actually pay? Did you pay the $25, or did you pay it all off? So for example, you see here the balance was $1,161, but then sorry, but then you see on the next month in January they paid it off in full. Hello? Talk to me, somebody. So you see that the balance was at $2,336, but that next month they made an actual payment in full balance. And you see that is the best way to, and I hate to say increase, but that's the best way to show that you are responsible with your bills. to pay it off in full as soon as that statement hits. So that means you're going to spend $1,161. You're not paying it off or down to a certain balance. Well, let me put a pin here. So hopefully this is like a $10,000 credit card, right? And you're looking and you only use $1,161 of it. That means that you are in range of that 10 to 20% utilization. So you're already doing great and you're getting the most points there. But your payment due date is on the 15th. Your statement's going to bill on the 17th. And instead of paying everything because you just used that $1,161, you're going to wait until after the 17th. You're going to get that online statement and you're going to pay it the day that it says, hey, you have a new statement available. They need to see that you are utilizing these credit cards. Again, that's another story on how to actually pay credit cards properly. All right, so payment history request. This is the inquiry fields that I was telling you about that you need to see who is actually accessing your reports. So if you are accessing the reports because there is you're going up for employment. So it tells you Caltech Employee Federal Credit Union. The permissible purposes, because somebody has to actually access your report for a purpose. And it says for a credit transaction. So credit bureaus are required to ask anyone requesting your credit history to provide the purpose for obtaining your credit history. Right? And it says the inquiry type, was it you or was it someone else, and the date that they requested it. Then it shows here some people's rent reports may show on here. It was for a tenant screening when they did it. It says real estate. It might say something to that effect, but it tells you exactly which apartments and how they did it. You see this says via rent report. So your credit report was accessed. Rent report provided the information to this credit bureau to add this information on there. All right. Personal statement. So whether it be at the top or the bottom, the personal statement is if you want anything to be known on your credit report. So mostly I see this when people has had some type of identity theft, some type of fraud that's happened on their account. There's a complete freeze, something of that sort. They always put a note on this account. If there's potential fraud on the account, they will also notify you about this. But you got to actually come to one of my classes to actually get the information on what the difference is between a credit freeze or a fraud. Sorry, my kids are here too. What a credit freeze versus a fraud alert is, okay? They're two different things. They're not the same thing. In fact, go to YouTube and it's already on there for you. So, last page. Do you have any questions? Of course, you can follow me across all social medias at Shyla Healy, or of course the business pages, My Credit Healer. My Credit Healer, My Credit Healer. We are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. If we do not answer the phone, I need you to leave a message. We don't know you call. If you do not leave a message, please allow us up to 48 to 72 hours to actually answer you back. Okay? For a reminder, you can always book your appointment on mycredithealer.com. However, somewhere in the links, up, down, wherever it is, I've actually put where to get a credit consultation at. It's like at ShylaHealy.ask.me, or again, you can go to My Credit Healer and put schedule or book a consultation, and it will take you directly to the link. Let me get out of here real quick. All right. All right, so now that I actually can see the question and stuff, let's see. Hey, mommy. My mommy joined me. So, if the realtor, buyer, seller lied to you about things about the property that you asked about, how long do you have to report this and have something done about it immediately? I would definitely do it as soon as you know about it. No matter what, you want to report it as soon as you actually find out the information. If they are with a firm, you want to report it to the firm, but you can also actually go and search up their license because realtors are licensed and they must provide you with some type of number, right? And you want to go and report it against their license. Okay? Hey, I don't know who the Facebook user is. If you're coming on the live, you always got to put allow access for the stream because I can't see who it is. But you're welcome. You know I'm always here for the information, aka full disclosure. Yes, mommy. Yes, full disclosure. So if I did not give you this disclosure, I am not an attorney. I am not a tax professional. Do not take this information as legal advice, but I need you to go ahead and do your own due diligence and go ahead and research the information for yourself as well. I'm just giving you everything that I've actually researched for myself. Some of this is from personal game. I've actually went out to certain things, just like I said, from Realtor.com. I got some of these questions from Realtor.com. Sometimes they are the better source, but you want to do your due diligence, do your due diligence, do your due diligence. All right. So, also give you a couple of updates on what's going down. So, as you guys know, I have walk-in Wednesdays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, only for the month of July because, like I said before, we are shutting down this physical office. That does not mean that you cannot still visit me in person. It's just going to be limited days, limited places, different times because I'm going to be traveling all over Houston to do a lot of this stuff for you guys, okay? All right. But walk-in Wednesdays, you can get any information from our budget solutions, business solutions, credit solutions. I am also a Texas public notary, so you can come in and just walk in and get your information notarized as well. I don't have my thing up here, it's in my desk over there. But any information, if you need information about all the classes that we offer, because we offer several different classes. So we have our DIY credit repair classes. We do have business, serious about your business classes. And then we also have cocktail and credit or credit and cocktail that's coming up next Saturday. If you are on the email list, you already see that there's a link for you. I'm on the live. Okay, tell him, give me just a second, please. Ask Rennie if he needs a form for him to fill out. Is he coming for a credit appointment? No. Okay, tell him, give me just a second. I apologize. Somebody walked into the office and my mini assistants are helping me out. But next week, next Saturday, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., I'm going to have credit and cocktails, meaning you need to come with your laptops, your pens, your papers, because I am actually going to have a lot of different information. When I say I got resources on deck, I don't know if you guys can see that. A lot of this information is for free to a lot of people, and nobody knows how to get it, but I'm about to provide it to you and then some because we're going to go over how to restore your credit, how to build your credit. And if you are a business owner, hey, I need you to start looking up things, especially if you are a Texas credit service organization. I want to help you set up your business correctly to make sure that you are registered properly with the state of Texas. Because what I don't want you to do is be caught up in some of these other people that actually says, yeah, I do credit, and then you go to look at the Secretary of State and they ain't nowhere on there, or their bond has been expired for the last year or two. Hello. Anyway, I apologize that I have to quickly go, but if you have any other questions, the link is here somewhere to where you can actually book your consultation. Go ahead and join our free Facebook community called Credit Healing Secrets. And then again, join my credit healer across all social medias and definitely subscribe to YouTube because if you miss it here on the lives, you can always go to YouTube and watch them there. That's my time. I love you guys. Bye.